1, or 2, or 3, or 4, but 5 deadly martial arts commandos. Force 5.
Welcome to another episode of Film Seizure. I'm Jeff Arbuckle.
I'm Jason Oliver.
And I think we have rounded out a wondrous trilogy of Force.
Yeah, I was thinking this is another Force edition of Film Seizure.
It is. About a year ago or so, we tackled the subject of Raw Force.
Yes, that's the very intellectual film that really needed to be broken down by us.
Yes, because it is life-changing.
Yes.
It is an amazing...
it is a monumental feat of cinema.
Cinema.
Cinema verite. It is truth.
It is. It is true. It is true. And then we tackled the topic of Megaforce, which I would say if Raw Force is truth, Megaforce is probably like love.
Okay.
And now we have rounded out into a religious moment
Yes.
with Force 5.
Force 5.
Yeah. This was directed by Robert Clouse. Robert Clouse is pretty awesome, at least in my book. He directed such features like Enter the Dragon.
Yes, indeed.
And a very religious experience for myself, Gymkata. Someday we will talk about Gymkata. I promise you that.
I have not seen Gymkata.
Whoa.
I know. I'm, of course, a fan of the Enter the Dragon, which, weirdly, this is kind of it's almost kind of a ripoff of his own movie, except you add a team. Right?
Yeah.
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 Force 5. It's like, hey, let's do Enter the Dragon. Let's make a joke about Bruce Lee in it and put a team in it. Maybe the early 80s were just all about the action teams, you know?
Yeah, well, we watched. Okay, so this came to us. I had seen the trailer for this about a year ago or so, and I was like, "Whoa, we got to do this one too." This was released through Scorpion Releasing, the Blu-ray that I have, and we were watching some of the other trailers, and holy hot damn, I want to watch them all.
Oh yeah.
What was the other Force movie?
Shit, it had Telly Savalas in it.
Telly Savalas and O.J. Simpson and Peter Fonda.
Yeah.
Which, that's awesome. Whatever that movie is.
Blood Force or something like that. I don't know.
Martial art force. No, this one was more about blowing stuff up.
It was lots of explosions.
And less about the martial arts, but Megaforce blew a lot of stuff up.
Yep.
Had like the all-time greatest moment, in my opinion, in action cinema of them blowing up that whole fucking little compound.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Which tipped off everybody that they were involved now because it was too good.
There's only one explosion, though, that I can think of in Force 5.
But it was a big
It's
one.
a significant one, yes. And it's used in the trailer.
Yeah.
But it's the only explosion, interestingly.
Yeah, and but Raw Force didn't have a whole lot of explosions either.
No, not really.
But
it got the budget for that shit.
No, but it will kick a fucking moving van.
Yes, it will.
This movie kicks a lot of balls.
Oh my god, so many balls, so many balls. I mean, there's the scene towards the end where Lockjaw punches the guy in the balls from behind.
Yeah.
Look, he looks like he's punching him in his butt. Nope, he goes farther than that. He gets him right in the balls.
Right in the goodies.
Yep.
Right in the jewels.
Yeah, it really does. It's not afraid of that at all. It's
No,
just like, no, we're going to make all the men squirm this entire movie with all of our ball decimations.
Right. You would have thought that the lady kung fu in this would have been doing the...
She doesn't really go for the nuts as much.
No, she kicks a lot of knees. She kicks some faces.
She does.
I would have let her kick me in the face.
She's got some pretty good face kicks.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah, right in the face.
So, this movie is loaded. I did a little note taking before you got here. This movie is loaded with a bunch of clout in the martial arts world.
Yep.
Robert Clouse, you had Joe Louis, who Bruce Lee considered the greatest karate fighter of all time, and he had a pretty impressive record in matches and stuff like that. They save him. They save his action until pretty much the second half.
Yeah,
of the movie.
he's the leader of the team. He's the guy who's putting it all together. You know.
Yeah, he's the guy. He's the guy who's calling the shots.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you've got the main bad guy is Han Bong-soo, who is he kind of, I don't know if he necessarily created Hapkido, but it's a form of, I assume, some sort of form of Aikido. But he brought it to America.
Hockey. Like they play it in hockey pads.
Yes.
Hapkido.
No, it's hop.
Oh,
HAP.
Even
Keto.
more fun sounding.
Yeah. Hapkido.
Hapkido.
And he brought it to America. So he's, he's billed as Master Han Bong-soo. So he's like a for real deal. And he's playing a bad guy in this, but he gets some good licks in too. He takes on 4 guys at once. He does some ninja stuff.
And he's overdubbed the entire movie.
Pretty much.
Except for one line, yes.
In which he says in Korean,
fuck you.
Fuck you.
In Korean. It makes sure to tell you underneath the subtitle, fuck you, that it was in Korean. Which makes me think that it would be really funny in Critters if when they subtitle the critter saying fuck you, or it says fuck, he just says fuck, if they put in parentheses under it in Critters language.
Yeah, in Critters-ese.
In Crites.
In Crites. But you also have other guys in this. Benny the Jet Urquidez. He's a kickboxing champ. He's been in action movies here and there.
Yeah, he's a badass.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. I think he kind of embodies a little bit of what they would have called like monkey Shaolin or monkey kung fu.
the drunken monkey kind of stuff. Yeah, you're right.
Because he's like always climbing around and
yes, yeah. I really like that style of kung fu. It translates really well in movies.
Yes,
because it's like they're tumbling a lot, they're doing crazy stunts, they're jumping on shit, they're climbing. It's like Jackie Chan basically.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, that's just a really visual style, fun to watch.
Yeah, the main. Like one of the main guys who gets quite a bit of action in the movie too is Richard Norton. He's kind of one of Joe Louis's guys. He plays a guy named Ezekiel, which is kind of awesome because he just straight murders people in this movie. But he was in the Octagon with Chuck Norris. He was the main bad guy in Gymkata. He was in License to Kill.
Oh wow!
Yeah. And then he's been in some Cynthia Rothrock movies. So he's definitely been around as far as a kung fu action star.
He's one of the many badasses in this movie who rocks the kind of Prince Valiant haircut.
Yes, but he also has a bitchin' beard.
And a bitchin' beard, yeah. The Prince Valiant haircut is... the quota on this movie is very high. It's amazing.
Well, but you know who doesn't have that? Joe Louis. He kind of...
Yeah.
He's got like a nice wavy coif. We kind of threw out a lot of names that he kind of looked like. He looked a little bit like a young Christopher Walken.
Yep.
He looked a little bit like Willem Dafoe. He looks a little bit like Eric Roberts.
Yep.
I think you even said Martin Cove too, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely. In fact, when you see the sketch of him, when they show the sketch of him to say he's not associated with the senator at all, it's like, holy shit, that looks just like Martin Cove. It's like, that's fucking Cobra Kai. It's like Cobra Kai's here too. Oh shit.
Yeah. Then Sonny Barnes, he was the black guy. He was Lockjaw. He was also in Gymkata. He was also in Black Belt Jones with, I believe that's Jim Kelly.
Oh yeah.
And so
that would be fun to see those two together.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's really entertaining in this.
Oh God, he had maybe the moment of 2019 for us. We'll get to that. Also, we have B-movie star Mel Novak. He gets his own special little credit as the assassin at the very beginning of this movie. There's an assassination plot But that's Mel Nova. He's been in almost 70 movies. I think they're all B movies. And lastly, we have Amanda Weiss, who is she is kind of the...
she's billed as Mandy Weiss.
Yes.
Yeah.
This was one of her first movies, I think. She was ultimately in Nightmare on Elm Street. As kind of the bait and switch main character who gets killed in the first act that ultimately leads everybody down the path to know that some weird shit happened.
Yes. And weird shit will happen.
And weird shit and will.
She was in Fast Times.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High right after this.
And
she played Judge Reinhold's girlfriend.
Yep. She kind of played a lot that snotty girlfriend quite often in her early career.
Although, really, though, Judge Reinhold's the blame for that.
That's true. That's true. That's very true.
Because he was going to break up with her, and then she broke up with him.
Yep.
Yeah. I fucking love that movie.
She's also in Better Off Dead, which I love. I love Better Off Dead.
We need to get to some 80s movies like that.
Better Off Dead is just, that's a gem.
Yes, it is. So, tell us a little bit about what happened in Force 5.
Oh, my God. Okay, so...
What didn't happen?
Well, yeah, so...
Because I've got a whole list of things that did happen.
So here's the thing about this movie, that I love movies like this that have very little plot. They have things that need to happen for...
There is a shell of a plot.
Yeah, yes, but there's things that need to happen to move the movie forward, and it's just enough so that you have, like you said, a shell of a plot, a skeleton of a plot, but they are able to then use that shell to pack in as much inane, just ridiculous stuff throughout the course of the movie that keeps you absolutely engaged. Like I think we said about Raw Force that it just never stops moving, right?
Right.
This is the same thing with this movie. It just is relentlessly forward moving.
Even scenes in which dialogue is happening, there's something going on in the background or in the foreground. Like you can't even walk to the breakfast table in this movie without having action.
Yes, I forgot. Holy shit. This movie is so packed full of amazing things that happen. I had already forgotten about the breakfast scene. So to kind of get the ball rolling, what's happening here is that Amanda Weiss has joined this cult. And
it's kind of a kung fu cult.
Yeah, it's like a karate cult.
It's amazing. I want to join this cult.
And of course, karate cults were a thing in early 80s martial arts movies.
Okay, I'm glad you qualified that with martial arts movies.
Yeah.
And not like this was just a thing in the early 80s.
No,
I kind of believe it is kind of just a thing in the early 80s.
That's the thing, though. Like the United States was obsessed with cults in the 80s, especially coming off...
We were obsessed with kung fu, too.
Especially coming off of Jonestown, right?
Sure.
And it was definitely like cults all through the 80s, really, but played a central villain in a lot of 80s action movies.
It was the other version of Satanic Scare that was used in horror.
Yeah. So you've got that element of it. You got the cult element of it, and then yes, the kung fu, the karate. How do we make it? And I feel like almost every martial arts movie in the late 70s, early 80s involved basically a kung fu leader, a karate leader of followers, right?
Right.
You could very easily take that one step forward and make it a cult, right?
Right.
Which is what this movie basically did.
Right.
So you had kind of two elements to this karate cult. It was the religious aspect, which was the front, right? Which was really just praise Jesus and everything. It was actually Christian religious cult, which is amazing. And then behind the scenes, it was all the dudes were trained in martial arts to front their drug and weapons trade. Right.
Right.
So anyway, Amanda Weiss joins this cult because she thinks it's the bee's knees.
As a young girl in the early 80s would have said.
Yeah, this sounds like the bee's knees.
Yeah.
This is the enlightenment I'm looking for. And
because they even say she went to college, she got bored of college, and was looking for something else. Which is exactly how this shit happens.
And like most cults do, they prey on people to give them all of their possessions. But this cult in particular is looking for young women who have trust funds and getting them to sign them over. Right?
Yeah, there was that one goofy dude. I'm sure he was a trust fund baby in some way, shape, or form.
So, somebody who I didn't quite understand it. The guy in the wheelchair, He's been an adversary of the leader of this cult for a long time.
I want to say that yes. So
it seemed like they had some run-ins in the past.
Here's what okay, because Amanda Weiss plays a senator's daughter, but not the senator who goes to the island in the movie.
Right.
And she's not the daughter of the guy in the wheelchair.
Right.
My thinking is the guy in the wheelchair was the father of the girl who went missing and died.
Could be. Maybe. I don't know. But anyway.
Doesn't matter, Kung Fu.
He's connected to, what's his face? Joe Louis.
Yes. He gets connected to him. He goes out to his place and it's like, hey, we got a job.
We got a job. And he sends his lackey to get him interested in the job and get him to the meeting with him. And that scene
that's where we got the breakfast obstacle course.
That's, I think, where you really know this movie's going to be special.
And we're not talking about the doofy guy.
Right.
at the compound. No, so Joe Louis, he gets, he comes out and he answers the door basically, and this guy.
Yeah.
He's like, let's go get breakfast.
I'm on my way to get breakfast.
I'm on my way to get breakfast.
Come
He's like,
me.
okay. So where's breakfast? Well, and like the whole joke is you have to get to breakfast.
Right.
So they're walking through like Joe Louis's lush, lavish, forest, which I'm pretty sure is the same forest.
Yeah, he's got his own like dojo compound himself. Yeah.
Yes, and I feel as though this is the same place that Gymkata was filmed a few years later. But anyway, so they're walking through like this wooded little patch, and there's like guys jumping out of trees and like attacking him, and it's like this is his morning constitutional.
Yeah.
To go get breakfast is to like fight his.
He has to fight
his
his pupils on his way to breakfast. Yeah, it's amazing, and every time he of course vanquishes them all easily, and then gives them little pep talks along the way.
Right, like basically like they need to be faster, they need to be sneakier or whatever.
And of course the little man with him, the lackey of the senator or whomever it is, he's just wouldn't it be easier to just have coffee at the house?
I think they kind of maybe not like outright, but kind of insinuated the guy might have been gay.
Yeah, maybe.
Because at one point, he says something and it's very effeminate the way he talks. It's almost like he's basically Waylon Smithers.
I think it's more of this. They're trying to make him out to be a wimp.
Yeah, he's a little wussy, I guess.
Yeah.
But so that's when you get explained that like this girl got caught up in this, and he doesn't like these people, but the United States really won't act on it because as the senator later says, religious freedom's a touchy subject, and it's best not to get involved.
Right.
Which, I wish that was just something that would be said in general, but. Anyway,
but it's interesting because the senator goes. This is later in the movie, obviously, but he goes to the compound. It's very much shades of what happened at Jonestown, right? The I think it was a congressman who went then and was killed there. So it kind of is sort of mirroring that a little bit to sort of ratchet up the tension, I think, and play a little bit on those fears.
Right.
Even though it's this really silly martial arts movie, it's like, well, yeah, we could use that. That's a good.
Did you just call this movie silly?
Well, yeah, it's silly, but it's
no, it's not.
It's wonderfully, yes, it is truth.
This is the Church of Force 5.
It is truth. But anyway, yeah. So they get to breakfast.
Yeah, and so at that point in time, like Joe Louis having a good laugh about this is what he does, and so they basically say, okay, how many guys do you need to do that? He's like, I need 5. Basically himself, 4 other fighters, and a pilot.
Yeah.
And that's when the glory of meeting all of the other
guys.
These are always my favorite parts.
Me too. It's like in the Dirty Dozen. Like there's always this montage of the team assembling that is my favorite.
Yes. And so
Delta Force did it too, I think, at one point, right? Didn't they?
Kind of. Megaforce definitely was having things where like side characters were having their moments. So
Dirty Dozen is the one that just comes to mind
Yeah.
immediately. Like, oh, I love it.
yeah. So basically, you have a big black dude named Lockjaw who is getting chased on his motorcycle
Yep.
by a gang of other people on motorcycles, and he's got a cool like phone inside of his helmet.
Yeah,
Like it's like a cell phone.
It's got like a radio controlled.
Yeah, it's
phone.
like a radio phone.
It's a radio phone in his helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like he has to beat those guys up,
He
throwing
does.
guys over rails. And it's amazing.
It takes on like 5 or 6 guys at once.
Yeah, fantastic. Then you have the Jet. You have Benny Akito.
Yep.
You find out I think he's working like in Mexico or something. He's just working at like a kiosk.
Oh yeah, it's so weird. His was kind of strange.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure
He quits his kiosk job selling Mexican ponchos to white tourists.
Yes,
And he tells them to fuck off, basically.
No, he tells them to stick it up his ass.
Stick it up his ass
in
yeah.
Mexican. Or
And-
Spanish.
Wow.
But he beats up some guys because he was fucking around with like this mob boss's daughter or something. And you kind of get the impression that he's the Lockjaw's the muscle. He's kind of the free spirit. He's kind of the like the what would they call that? A happy-go-lucky type of guy.
Yeah, he's also kind of the agile guy.
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know?
yeah. Absolutely. Because he's the smallest.
Yeah,
guy.
if they needed, they don't really play on that too much. But if they needed some sneaky,
in
he would be the
Prison
guy.
Break later.
Yeah, a little
they
bit.
do play on that because he's like climbing up and then he's dropping down on people.
True.
He uses the bars to kind of go up and take the high ground. And
Yep,
stuff.
yep.
Yeah.
He would be like your Jet Li of the Ocean's 11 movie.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. Then you have our guy, Richard Norton. He is seen at a pool table or like at a pool bar. And he's got this bitchin' like shuriken necklace.
Yeah, it's like a huge throwing star.
Yeah. And he is.
And of course, that's going to be embedded in someone's chest eventually, right?
Doesn't take very
And
long.
it doesn't. It's like 30 seconds later.
He's hustling some guys playing pool, and the guys doesn't like it. So he's like, well, it's basically the ass cash or grass. Nobody rides for free of pool halls. Basically, he's saying, I'm gonna get my money.
Yeah.
It's like you can try to keep me from getting the money, but I ain't gonna get it. I am gonna get it. And so he beats all those guys up. And one guy goes into a locker to get like a gun, and that's when the throwing star comes out. Yeah, casual murder.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
no big deal. It's just a Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you have the lady. As the trailer says, she has everything else.
She has everything else.
And so this foxy lady's coming home from something, just takes off her dress, headed upstairs, to go change into pretty much a silk robe and silk panties.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
She
got very cozy quickly.
Very cozy.
Yeah.
And you know what else she got cozy to? Joe Louis. Because Joe Louis is inside her apartment or house or whatever, and like he's testing her out.
Yeah, he's wearing a like a Zorro mask.
Why? We do not know.
No idea.
we don't care.
He doesn't want to give away his identity for some
Right,
reason at
like,
first.
because they know each other. Like,
Right, and then
everybody knows everybody.
And then they fight, and apparently her skills are up to his standards, and he's like, "Oh no, I give up. It's so and so." She's like, "I know," and they keep fighting.
Kicks him again,
Yeah.
or throws him over the. Yeah.
She pretty much gives it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then, so they're all like.
But what is it? What is the line? I need somebody with.
I need somebody who can
think
fight
and who can fight and chew bubblegum at the same time.
And she's like, "All right," and then they make out. It's like, I'm gonna try that line. It's not gonna go well. Anyway.
It's like, I could chew bubblegum. Got 1 out of 3.
Good enough. 1 out of 3 ain't bad. So anyway, so then they go to like their little gym. Like they got a little gym room.
Oh
where
my
they're,
God,
like,
yeah.
throwing stars and they're lifting weights and they're like throwing kicks, and it's and then they say, okay, well, there's still one guy we got to go get. We got to go get our pilot, our helicopter pilot. Take us in, take us out. And they say his name's Willard, and everybody's like, he's crazy.
He's crazy. We don't want him.
It's like, well, he's the best pilot. We got to get him. So Willard is in prison.
Yes. He's in some kind of like jungle prison too.
Yes.
I have no idea where the hell he is.
Like Guatemala or
Yeah.
something. But they all go, they bust some heads, and they go to bust him out. Every single person in the prison gets punched at some point. So they come across this one cell that has like what looks to be like an old Japanese like paper door, and Joe Lewis is kind of like,
kind of not.
that's that I 100% that's Willard. And so they, he says, "Come on in."
It's open.
His cell door is open, and it opens up into this lavish apartment.
He's got a big screen TV.
Oh my
god! This pimpin' couch,
beautiful couch,
perfectly furnished apartment.
He's got machetes on the wall.
Art. He has art.
He has art. And he has the warden's daughter in bed with him.
Yep.
Amazing. And he doesn't want to leave. I kind of don't blame him.
Yeah, he's like, "What's in
he's
this?
living
Am
like
I doing this for you? Are you doing this for me or for you?" And when he asks him why are they breaking him out,
and he's like, both. And he's like, "I ain't leaving."
Yeah.
So he's the fucking king of prison.
But then it's amazing. He wakes up the commandant's daughter. He wakes her real gently, real nice, real sweet,
and he's like real loving to her.
He was like, "Hey, baby, basically, I gotta go from this place, and we need to use you as a hostage. would that be okay?" And she just gives him like this cute
grin.
little like grin, like, yeah, of course. Yeah. It's amazing.
Cinema.
So they use her as the hostage to get out the whole while she's giggling
and smiling and
like
waving.
All of the guards are kind of like she's sort of flirting with the guards, and they're all kind of smiling back at her. It's
all the guards are like all have bruises and shit on their face,
but they're like, okay, all right.
So they get out.
Yep.
And now it's time for the mission. And basically, at this point, it's like, well, they're going over to the island with the senator who's checking in on the place or wanting to learn more about the place or whatever. The senator knows that it's not great. And he's the one who's basically like, you can't come out against an organized religion, even if it is a cult. You have to be careful.
Right.
With that.
We need to have the proof that there's something nefarious happening here. We can't just
accuse,
make accusations. Right.
Which is fair. I mean, that's fine.
Seems totally fair to me.
So they go over, and they. Oh, by the way, the original guy who hired Force 5 is dead now.
Oh yeah.
He gets
one of the
split in
only
half.
one-liners of the movie. The movie is shockingly short on one-liners, but there are a couple.
There are two.
And this one-liner comes when our big hulking villain. He looks like the body of Arnold Schwarzenegger, but with a blonde page boy haircut, Prince Valiant haircut.
He played Thorg in Gymkata, for those of you who have seen Gymkata.
And he's huge, and he's tasked to go take care of Stark, the guy in the wheelchair. Because he's been meddling, and they know that he is meddling.
He paid the assassin.
Because he paid the assassin, right?
Right.
So he goes to him. They kidnap him. They try to find out more information about who he's sending to further disrupt their plans, and they tie him one leg up to a cement pole, like a cylinder in a parking garage, right?
Yeah,
and the other leg to the bumper of a car. And then the car drives, and as it's splitting him in two, which is done off camera, but as it's happening, our villain guy says, "Make a wish," which is the first of only two one-liners in this movie. Yeah,
right. I don't even remember what the other one is. Do you remember what the other one is?
Yeah, the other one was the
Richard Norton says.
Yeah, it's he says, "Thank God for Black and Decker."
That's right, because he gets a rotary saw.
Yep.
and like
He
uses
throws it like a
throwing-
ninja star. Yeah. he,
Mwah.
he buries the rotary saw blade in some guy's chest. Yes.
So they get there. The lady Force 5 member talks to Amanda Weiss and says, are you sure there's nothing that you don't question or, ask about? There's people missing, including a friend of hers. Anyway. And, Amanda Weiss like, no, he's great.
I love it here.
And so, like, she's like, well, just think it over, okay? You just think it over. So then they do end up finding a bunch of cocaine and guns in the basement of the temple. So, at this point, Joe Louis like, all right, shit's about to hit the fan. Here's the deal. Senator, you got to tell them to get out because they're going to go leave, drop the senator off in safety, and then come back and blam, basically.
Yep.
So then, but at the same time, our main bad guy is like the cult leader is like, oh, we found out that these people are not who they say they are.
Yep.
So we're going to stage an accident where the helicopter blows up and they'll die.
Yes.
And we'll just say it's an accident.
And meanwhile, he's like business as usual as well.
Business as usual.
Because he's calling in Amanda Weiss into his office to have her sign away her trust, right? And then like sending her on her way after that. It's like this big deal to go into the temple.
Right.
And then you go into the temple. It's
just an
It's
office.
just a fucking office. And then she makes a comment. This is just an office. And he's like, yes. Sometimes when you get to the highest levels of a religion, it is very mediocre and office like or something like that. I'm just like, well, shit. Way to just demystify the whole thing.
Right.
But basically tell the truth. I mean,
We've
damn.
gone corporate, baby.
It's like once you get your signature, it's like you either meet the bull or you get in line and play nice.
Yeah. So let's talk about the bull.
The bull.
The bull. So, by the way, movie ends. They fight.
Fights happen.
Fights happen. Explosions.
Amanda Weiss realizes that
all of her
cult
friends are
is
dead.
bad and all of her friends are dead because she finds the bodies.
Yep.
Her friends died, however, at the horns, not the hands of, the horns of a deadly beast.
Yes. So there is a like a labyrinth.
Yeah.
And they have this bull. The symbolism of the cult is a bull.
Which is amazing because, all right, think about this. You create a cult that's really just a fucking sham, right? It's just, it's a sham to get people to give you their money to further fund your drug and weapons trade, right?
Yeah, right.
And to also get more fighters to train, right? To protect your business, right? But to do this, they have to.
I don't know about you, but my job, we have a whole army of ninjas.
Yeah, they all hang
Kung
out.
Fu
They'll
guys.
hang out in the coffee room.
Yeah.
Yeah, or around the water coolers.
They're
waiting
for action.
Yeah. But they have to create like this sort of shell of a cult with a belief system, right? So it is somehow Jesus Christian centric, but but it has a symbol of a bull that I forget. There's some symbolic reason for it that they explain. I tune out when people explain shit like that. I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah.
Bulls are awesome.
Yeah, it's like I don't care. Like I know you're bad. This is a bad cult. You're gonna get exploded.
Right.
I don't need to know the reason, but they do explain it in a few sentences of dialogue. But that's funny to me that then they take that to the next level. At somewhere in this guy's mind, the Master Boone or whatever, he believes in a little bit of this because he believes in it enough to have a fucking bull assassin that he keeps as a pet in the basement of the temple.
Right. Yeah, because at one point in time, Joe Louis, he's walking by a door and something hits against the door. And that's when I told you it's a bull. They have a fucking bull in the basement.
And they do.
And they do.
They do. It's a big old hulking bull.
Yeah, it's pissed.
And you see it chase down a few different people in the labyrinth.
Before you actually see
Yeah, and then there
Yeah.
is when it's the reporter
That you
that
actually
gets blown
finally
in,
see
that
it.
they
Yeah.
see it, and it chases him and gores him to death.
Right. And
So they do a nice job of kind of, building
Teasing
up
it.
this tease and this.
we just ruined it.
Yeah, we
It's
did.
a fucking bull.
Yeah, it's a fucking bull.
It's a fucking minotaur in the labyrinth.
Yep, exactly right. Symbolism. This movie's got the smarts, Jeff.
I don't know about that, but it's awesome. I don't know nothing about those smarts.
It is truth.
It's truth.
But of course, who's got to be the one to vanquish the bull?
Our hero.
Yeah,
Joe Louis.
of course.
He blows it up.
Yeah, he has a great reaction to it when he sees it. He's
Yeah,
just like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah. He knows what's what. So I got a list here of things that this movie has. It's a full page.
I kept glancing over at you as you added to this list.
I was like furiously writing stuff.
I couldn't believe how many things actually ended up on the page. It's amazing.
Yeah. So you ready to go through some of these and talk about some of them?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Number one, we've already talked about the breakfast obstacle course.
Breakfast obstacle course.
We've talked about ripping a dude in half.
Yep.
The
Make a wish.
Make a wish. Yeah. Make a Wish Foundation. Prison Break. Now, we didn't talk enough about the prison break. So we got the crazy guy out, but the prison break is insanity because here's what happened. The start of it is actually pretty smart and on the download. You have what appears to be lady prisoners, I think, collecting bamboo and stuff. That's one thing I could add to this. Bamboo
It actually works as a retroactive A-Team joke too.
Yeah.
Like, this movie came before A-Team, but it's almost like it's making fun of the A-Team in this joke because he says A-Team, right? He kind of sarcastically as they're observing this military force, like, oh yeah, this is the A-Team,
right?
Yeah, like they're not gonna have any problem at all. They get a little cocky.
Yeah, they do. So they go in. It starts by having our Babe Force 5 member like kind of distract everybody. And then she kicks the guy in the face.
It's a good one too.
Yeah, it's a real good, like fast kick to the face.
It's a well-staged face kick.
And then, so they go in and they take over like the truck.
Yeah.
And they even dress as the guards and everything. That's where we also see the guy in the nest, like at the gate.
Oh man,
the job you want to have.
It's the best job ever. So he is. First of all, where this prison is looks like a very beautiful country.
It's like Nicaragua or something.
It's kind of jungly, very exotic. I imagine it's maybe just a 50-yard walk from Sandy Beach, right?
Probably.
And this guy is in what looks like a tiki hut, basically.
Pretty much.
Mounted into this hill above the tunnel to get into the prison camp.
Right.
And he's just chilling up there, thinking, man, that's a good job. You grab a book, a mocktail. Maybe, it hits 4:30. You put a little bit of something hard in there,
Yeah, it's probably, they don't expect Force 5 to show up every day.
It seems like a pretty relaxing gig.
Pretty good gig,
I gotta say, yeah.
So then that, it gets
in fact,
sprung.
he doesn't even have to fight because they trick him.
Yeah.
And they go in.
Yeah.
He's none the wiser.
Right.
He's just kind of chilling there while the whole like chaos is happening. Probably reading his Agatha Christie novel.
Probably.
Yeah.
V.C. Andrews.
Yeah.
So they come out, and it's the jet that tips everybody off.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
How
all
is
of
the
these people
sneakiest
are.
one. They won. Yeah.
I mean, he is vaguely Hispanic.
Yeah.
They are all Hispanic. How is he the one and not the big giant black man?
Right. It's a good point. It's a really good point. Or the sexy blonde, right?
Right. Yeah.
What the fuck's she doing here?
Yeah.
People have probably never
holy
seen a
shit.
blonde woman in their lives.
Holy shit, that's Richard Norton. He's got a throwing star as a necklace. Yeah, come on. So anyway, but everybody gets a piece of the action because like they get into like the crazy ward and to save him and the Foxy Force 5 lady, he lets out the crazies to attack the guards.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
Gotta love that.
He punches one of them, But then he was dumb to use that as the wall he's sneaking by is the prison
It's
doors.
like fucking Nightbreed, man. They released the berserkers, right?
Right.
It's like they're chaos. You don't know what they're gonna do, but if you can strategically point them at your adversary, that's what the crazy prisoners did.
Yeah, exactly. So we have hulking kung fu beasts. That is our main henchman and our black guy, who will come back to their moment, their fight. Just put a little asterisk next to that one. Unhinged heroes. There's just casual murder happening everywhere.
They're
particularly from Richard Norton.
Richard Norton and the helicopter pilot both have some crazy looks as they're fighting some people.
We got guys tossing guys.
Yeah.
That's always great.
Always great. Over rails, down the stairs,
Yep.
through windows and shit. Yeah.
You got beating up crazies, which I just talked about. Casual murder, I've already talked about. There's a woman folded into a pretzel.
Oh yeah. So that is the first victim you see of the bowl, but you don't know it earlier in the movie. So you see the assassin when he gets put into the labyrinth, and he finds her.
And she's the one who everybody is wondering what happened to her.
Right. And she's all crumpled up. She's got an eye missing, it looks like, and she's got her foot over her head. Like she's a mess. Yeah. And you're thinking like what happened to her?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good setup.
Yeah, it is. We got casual murder, I mentioned that. Kicking a guy so hard he flies through glass.
Yeah. Always great.
So
I think it's the most powerful kick in all of cinema. It is amazing.
This is a wonderful moment. So Lockjaw, a big black guy, he just hauls off and fucking just kicks a guy right in the chest.
It's this huge karate kick right in the chest. And this guy has got to be 7 feet off the ground.
He looks like Lockjaw picked him up, rolled him into a football, and punted him through a window.
It is amazing. This guy hit the trampoline and just went flying through. I mean, I was like, yep, that Lockjaw, that kudos, buddy.
Yeah.
Don't ever get in front of one of his feet.
Or his fist.
Oh, yeah.
Don't let him put your head through a wall.
Oh, my God.
Religious cult, we've talked about that. Fake helicopter problems. So that's how.
Oh, yeah.
So the whole team is not supposed to stay on the island. But Force 5 has set it up to where their helicopter can't leave. And so, so they're like, okay, well, we're going to fake a problem so that we have to stay.
Right.
And so that the whole team's on the island. But big hulking henchman guy is
he's not having it.
No, he
smells a rat.
Yeah, we're gonna assign some guys to guard this.
I like how our thought though was that they switched helicopters.
It was going to be
and that they were going to explode the helicopter and pretend like they all died. Yeah.
No. It was much
so for
much
once,
less than that.
For once, like our brains went to the more extreme thing. Like in this movie, we had it beat in one moment.
Yeah, I would have exploded that helicopter.
Other than the fists coming up out of.
Oh my God! So at the breakfast. If I was writing this movie, after the breakfast obstacle course, they sit down, they get covered plates.
Yes.
And I said it would have been great if he opens up the covered plate and a fist comes through it.
It would have been the best.
Oh my God. I want to make movies like that. We also have cock punches, lots of cock punches.
So many cock punches.
So much testicular trauma. Everybody has testicular cancer in this movie now. We got henchman with an eye patch.
Yes.
That's always good.
Always a classic.
They got boobs.
Hell, Congress has a henchman with an eye patch now.
Yeah, I know, right? We've got boobs in the movie.
Yeah.
Which was surprise, unnecessary.
Oh, yeah, in the tent. It was a nice little touch. It was a nice little touch. It's like when the painting is finished, but the artist just stands back for a moment, says it's missing just one thing. And they go in. Yeah, they go in and they make like a little mark. and then they stand back. It's like perfecto. That's what it was.
Yes.
That's what it was. It was that little thing this movie
It's like,
needed.
oh my God, we don't have any titties.
What were we thinking? We need a titty scene stat.
Yes, and they got it. And it was longer than you would have expected for what was going on in that scene. We've got acupuncture torture.
Oh, yeah.
Which actually looked like people were receiving acupuncture.
That was a legit needle in his neck, for sure. Yeah.
Maze of Death with a killer bull.
Yeah. I mean, check. Every movie should have one of those.
Cocaine, lots of cocaine.
Lots of cocaine. Oh, yeah, I love that. Joe Lewis, he goes up to it to test it, right? And he tests it, and he gives a look of like, damn, that's some good stuff.
Yeah, I thought he was going to like
dump it in his trousers. Yeah. I'm taking that with me.
Lady Force 5 is going to have a surprise when she goes down on me later. Joe Lewis working the nuts.
Working the nuts? What were you?
I think he punched the guy a couple of times in the crotch in a fight scene.
That's possible. So many cock punches.
Joe Lewis working the nuts. I literally wrote that.
There's so many things happen. You can't even remember all the things that you wrote down that happened.
We've got bad guys kill their own henchmen. That's a staple. You got terrorist funding. You got you've got cocaine and guns that you're selling to bad guys.
I love
to
that.
Fund your...
I love that because he just kind of makes that assumption.
Yes,
he doesn't really have any proof for that. He just says, "Well, if they have guns, they're probably selling those to terrorists."
What about the Contra? They might have been selling them to the Contra.
Sure.
Throwing Star Necklace. We talked about. I want one of those.
That made 2 appearances.
Sure did.
So I like the fact that when he's wearing it again on the island later, I think to myself, holy shit, he had to pull that out of somebody's chest that it was embedded into, clean it off. He probably gave it a big smooch on the lips and then put it back over his neck.
Like, you saved me again, necklace.
And then, of course, he uses it again later. Like right away in the battle, he uses it.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't mess around. It's like those guys got guns.
And then he needs it again later. He doesn't have it, but he throws the buzzsaw.
The buzzsaw, yeah.
Thank God for Black & Decker.
Yes, indeed. I wrote explosion twice. There was only one.
Was there a second explosion?
Oh, no, you know what it was? That one explosion was so mighty that it kept exploding. That's what it was. Dead bodies. Oh, we're saving that one for last.
Dead bodies found by a victim to expose the bad guy's plot.
Also, dead bodies in just a room. Just chilling in the ante room.
Yeah. In body bags, no less.
Body bags, no
Like, what's
less.
the point of that?
Yeah. Why isn't the bull eating them? You know? Why don't you have some wild, crazed pigs also feed the bodies to the pigs?
To the pigs.
Yeah.
And the pigs to the bull?
Yes.
Sure. Circle of life.
Yeah, that works. Ninja powers.
Were there ninja powers?
Yeah, there fucking was. Han Bong-soo was using the smoke from the explosion.
I don't think that was so much powers. Just he was using his environment.
Would it have surprised you if it was powers?
That was a cool scene, though.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Because it did look like he was sort of vanishing into the smoke and then reappearing
like
in the
someplace
smoke.
else.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was really cool. It was a good action scene, a good final fight. Yeah. Pickaxe death. Pickaxe death.
Pickaxe death. That's hard to say, actually.
It is. Our main bad guy gets kicked into
a pickaxe.
Into a pickaxe.
Yep.
So the last one, head cave in.
Head cave in.
Set this up.
All right. So we knew as soon as we saw Lockjaw and as soon as we saw Prince Valiant, Hulk of a Man villain, that those two are going to fight at some point.
It had to have.
If they didn't, it would have been a huge misstep and a disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
And of course,
we had faith in this movie.
Yes, and it was a given they were going to fight, and they did. And it was a great knockdown, drag out for about
in close space, in close tight space
in the
office,
and the drug lab.
Yeah.
So like drugs are like getting knocked over and shit. They're wasting all their money on the drugs, and this big battle's happening. And eventually, Lockjaw throws the guy out of the office into the hallway where he pursues him. And you think, oh man, we're gonna get some more
Like down the hallway.
Yeah,
fighting.
yeah, right. Because it's, I mean, you got a good taste, but you could definitely see we could do with a little bit more.
We can crank this all the way up to 11.
Yeah, right. Of these two guys going at it, and then what happens?
So Lockjaw gets hulking bad guy henchman up against the wall. And you think, oh, he's just going to like wail on him or something like, right? He's up against the ropes.
Right.
Then, or maybe he dodges and he puts a
Puts
fist
a fist to the wall, something like that.
No,
Yeah.
he just grabs the guy's face. Lockjaw just grabs the guy's face and smashes it against the wall. And like a tick, an engorged tick, blood just...
The whole back of his head against the wall just explodes.
Yeah. And
And then it cuts.
then it just cuts.
Cuts right away. And Jeff and I just looked at each other. Like when that happened, immediately when that happened, like it couldn't have been more shocking at that moment.
It was the greatest moment of my life.
We had to pause the movie.
I blacked out immediately. Like I immediately blacked out from laughing so hard.
As jarring and amazing as that was, my favorite part though was the fact that we both looked at each other right the moment that it happened. Like the look on Jeff's face was amazing.
I love it. I love it. This movie, guys, this movie is special.
It's good.
It is really good.
It is really good. It's so much fun. Yeah.
Go out and see this movie at your local cinema.
Your local cinema.
No, it's fantastic.
It is a worthy addition to our Force episodes.
Oh,
Very worthy.
yeah, it is. Brings a tear to the eye.
How many of 5 forces would you give this?
Out of 5, 4, 6, because we had the
Because
helicopter.
there was an
pilot.
extra force, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, there are 5. There's Force 5, and
Plus this guy.
plus crazy helicopter pilot.
But Force 6 doesn't sound as good.
No, Force 5 is where it's at. But I'm giving it 6 forces.
6 forces. I concur.
Yeah.
Six forces indeed. Yeah.
Doesn't get any better than this, folks.
It really doesn't. This is what life's all about.
Yes. So next week we're going to be taking a look back on 2018.
Yeah.
We figure the Oscars can't have the final word.
No.
We have to get our final
word.
word in.
Our word is truth.
Word is truth. And
Word of the day, folks. It's
truth. Yes, my winner of best movie of 2019 is Force 5. Anyway, so we're going to be doing that next week. After that, when we get into March, we're going to have some fun stuff. A couple of episodes we already have planned. Should be right up the alley of good old fashioned fun.
Yeah.
And action and violence.
Yes.
Lots of violence. It's important. It helps keep us going.
It's fuel.
It's just fuel. It's fuel. But where can people find out more about us?
Oh my goodness. So, of course, home base is filmseizure.com. Check us out there. All of our musings and Film Seizure episodes and Jeff's Monster Monday episodes are all there on filmseizure.com. You can also stream us on the YouTube. New episodes go up every Friday there.
Sunday.
Although
probably starting in March, I'm probably just going to try to align it to everything comes out on Wednesdays. Everywhere.
Great. We are also on Twitter and Facebook.
Yep.
Come have a conversation with us. Talk to us about why we're wrong and why we're right. We prefer the latter, but we'll roll with the former sometimes.
Yeah. I'll roll the sleeves up and get dirty.
we are also, I think, on some new outlets.
Yeah, so been working. Probably by now we should be on places like Google Play. If you go into Google Play Music, you can find podcasts there. You should be able to also find us on Spotify. Maybe by now on TuneIn even, and probably by now on iTunes as well.
So basically, we're just taking over.
Pretty much.
It's Film Seizure Nation, folks.
Yeah, we are a plague of flies.
You cannot be swatted.
Right.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to your ear hole somehow. We're a plague of earwigs. We're gonna get in there.
Yes. So if that sounds appetizing,
Yeah.
and you'd like to listen to more of that, that's where you can find us.
Yes. So next week we will talk about our best of 2018. But until then, I am Jeff Arbuckle.
I am Jason Oliver, and you have been listening to Film Seizure.
Force 5.
Force 5.
Force 5. He has the leadership. He has the strength. He has the speed. He has the skill. And she has everything else.